Welcome to the scheduled release show. I'm so psyched. This is Michael Halatek, my partner, Stevie Push from Shy City Sports. It's been a crazy day with leaks and schedule BS, I guess is the best way to put it. But we finally have it, Stevie. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Just like you said, I was also looking at the leaks and the rumors, and the last few weeks we've been making our guess at when the Bears are going to be playing who on what holiday and what road trip game might be best depending on where they play it on the schedule. But as of the last 16 minutes, we have that confirmation of when and where the Bears will be playing their 2025 opponents, and it's a mixed bag for me at least.
Well, without
Personally,
further ado, here it is. This is the 2025 schedule. They start at home against the Minnesota Vikings. It's a Monday night game. So week two, they're in Detroit. No Thanksgiving game for the Bears this year. Then they host Dallas. And then Stevie will be making plans to visit Las Vegas at the end of September. On the 29th, they go and visit the Las Vegas Raiders. The first big disappointment comes in week 5. That is a bye week. It's it,
early.
it's early, but I tell you what, this. I think it was Brendan Shagru who posted this earlier today. The Bears last won the NFC North Division in 2018. They had an early bye week that year too.
And
So
in 2005 as well, they had an early bye week. I think that one was in week 4, I believe, of the 2005 season. That was the 11-5 NFC North Division season where they clinched in Green Bay on Christmas Day.
So of the first 4 games, only one is a noon game. We open the season on a Monday night. Then we have the noon game in Detroit. They're home against Dallas, but that's going to be a 3:25 game, so that will most likely be on Fox. And then the Raider game is also a 3:25 start, of course, because it's out in on the West Coast. So interesting that when you look at the first 5 games, only one noon start of the first 5.
Yeah, and it's kind of like it's a mixed bag because some fans love when the Bears can play on prime time or late afternoon games or Sunday night football. Others, a lot of fans were upset with the week 1 Monday night football game because I'm not a fan of it either. I love kickoff weekend. I want a 12 o'clock or 3:15 kickoff. It sucks you watching all the other teams play and then Sunday night, Sunday night's okay because you get the football, like the football backs feeling out of the way, and then you're like, okay, we can settle into watching the Bears. But Monday night, it sucks the life out of you having to wait that whole day because you're watching so many good games that first Sunday back, and you're like, damn, I wish the Bears were playing right now. And then the first week of Monday Night Football is always a tricky one to be on. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go ask the New York Jets fans who have watched their team play week 1 of the last 2 seasons. In 2023, they saw Aaron Rodgers tear his Achilles after 4 plays. And then last year, they watched their Jets go out to San Francisco and lay an egg. So
Yes, yes, they did.
sometimes it's not the best to say, I'm ready for some football on Monday night in week 1.
So before we get much further into the Bears schedule, here's a look at week 1's prime time. So you have Thursday night Dallas, which was a big surprise to a lot of people, including myself.
Yep.
They get to play the honorary game where the Super Bowl champions open the season on Thursday night. So Dallas at Philadelphia. the Friday night game, this is the second year in a row that the NFL is playing a game in the Southern Hemisphere down in Brazil. Kansas City is the technical road team against the LA Chargers. Sunday night, that's going to be a hell of a good game.
That is, yeah.
Baltimore at Buffalo. I'm a huge Josh Allen fan. Nothing would make me happier than to see Josh Allen make it all the way to the Super Bowl only to be beat by Chicago.
Careful what you wish for, because that might come true, and then he might it might semi come true. They make it to the Super Bowl, and then he beats the Bears.
Speaking of Buffalo, I just saw a tweet that the one of the Bears preseason games is actually going to be against Buffalo again.
August 17th, yes.
I believe
I saw that as well. It was is it? Go on.
Go ahead.
I was going to say Zach Pearson tweeted that out. I saw that.
And then the Monday night game, you've got the Vikings coming to Chicago. The last time they came to Chicago, Caleb Williams just went off. I think he threw for over 320 yards that game. Mm-hmm. It was just a hell of a performance by Caleb. So let's see what happens. It could be a fun game.
It should be. You have the debut of J.J. McCarthy as well in that game if he stays healthy through the preseason.
Well, yeah, we can only hope. I don't want to wish an injury.
No.
I never wish injuries on anybody. I hope J.J. McCarthy stays healthy, and then he can promptly get sacked 5 times on Monday Night Football. I've got the NFL Network show. I've got it on pause right now because they're showing the Thursday Night Football lineup. So, of course, week 1, you've got Dallas at Philadelphia. Washington at Green Bay is week 2.
That's going to be a good one.
Miami at Buffalo, week 3.
That's when it starts to fall into that Thursday night, hey, there's a football game on mode.
This next one, this is interesting because the next 2 weeks in a row, you've got NFC West matchups. So week 4, Seattle at Arizona, and week 5, San Francisco at the Rams.
Rams and 49ers had a good one on a low-scoring affair on Thursday night last year, it turned out to be a good one.
Yep. In week 6, Philadelphia returns to Thursday night. They visit the New York Giants. That could be an interesting game, especially if the Giants defense shows up.
Yes.
Then you got an AFC North game, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati in week 7.
Those AFC matchups are always good on Thursday night. Browns Steelers in the snow last year was a classic.
There's an interconference game in week 8. Minnesota travels to LA to play the Chargers. That could be a hell of a game.
That could be, yes. It would be JJ versus Jim Harbaugh, Michigan Bowl.
So we have week 9, Baltimore at Miami.
That one might be just put the game on type game. Depending on, I mean, I've got my questions about the Miami Dolphins and that team this year. That could be one of those teams where people think it's going to be an okay team, and then at the end of the season, just people are asking what happened.
So where did we leave off?
We left off
Miami, week 10.
Yes.
Las Vegas at Denver, and that could be a fun game. Denver.
That can be, yeah.
Surprised a lot of people last year.
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't go with Denver against Philadelphia to kick off the season. I thought that would have been a very good matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. The New York. This might be the worst Thursday night game of the year. But of course, stuff happens, so I might be wrong. But on paper, the New York Jets against the New England Patriots.
That's going to be a game where you just put the game on because the game's on. But I mean, you have Drake May, and he could have a really he has the potential to have a huge sophomore season in the NFL.
Let's see, what do we got? I'm trying to do like 14 things at once here, so
Yeah,
I
no, it's all good. I think
Buffalo,
we're
week 12. Buffalo travels to Houston. That could be a fun game.
that's a solid one to have on. That's a good one.
It is a good one. Trying to find. There we go.
And
Get rid
then I
of
think
that.
we were at week 12, so that takes us
Yeah.
then into Thanksgiving, which would
Right.
be the triple header.
So there is no Thursday night. That Thursday night game will probably be on NBC. It's not on Amazon. So there is
Yes,
no week 13 Amazon game. Week 14, this could be fun. Dallas travels to play the Lions.
that could be a fun one, but we have to remember what happened when Detroit played Dallas last year.
Atlanta in week 15 travels to Tampa. That could be a fun game. Who knows what Tampa's going to be? Atlanta seemed to start putting it all together at the end of the season last year, so it could be fun.
That should have some playoff implications for the NFC South. Yes,
It just might. LA Rams at Seattle in week 16. That could be a fun game.
it could be. I could see that being a wild card implication matchup potentially, depending on how the NFC West shakes out.
And the team that probably gives Kansas City the most fits. Denver plays at Kansas City in the last Thursday night game of the year in week 17.
And that's Christmas night, right?
That would be, yeah, I would believe you're right.
Yeah, that's a great way to finish off Christmas. I mean, Patrick Mahomes gets to play on Thanksgiving and Christmas this year, so that Cowboys Chiefs Thanksgiving game that just screams, hey, forget about you bring your Thanksgiving dinner plate to the living room. Everyone's grabbing, and we're watching the game.
All right, let's get back to the Bears schedule if I can find it here. So there we are. So week 5, we touch base on it. It's a 7:15 game on the 13th. So that's a Monday night game
Mm-hmm.
in Washington. So we finally get back to noon in week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Week 7 starts off a string of several noon starts. So that'll be nice to sit back in your respective man caves and watch the game on October 19th at noon. The Bears host the New Orleans Saints.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no idea what the Saints are going to be. You know, obviously they lost their quarterback, who Derek Carr retired unexpectedly, but his shoulder just wasn't responding to any treatment. So unfortunately, their quarterback room is a mess.
It is, and that whole offense is questionable outside of their wide receivers. The biggest concern I have with the Saints, well, it's not even a concern. I think the Saints basically might just tank this season, not intentionally, but intentionally, because maybe they're trying to get the number 1 pick with Arch Manning next year. That's the only thing I could see, because they've been dealt a bad blow with Derek Carr, and it sucks for Derek Carr to have to retire because of injury, because he's been one of the better quarterbacks over the last decade. And you always want to see good players go out on their term, get that final last game farewell from the fans. And unfortunately, he was not able to get that with the Saints fans. I think the Saints fans he have been able to play one more season, and he said, hey, I'm done after this year. He would have gotten a nice warm send off from that fan base.
Absolutely. It's not as dramatic as, and I can't forget, the name of the quarterback literally is right here, and I can't get it out.
Alex Smith?
But when the Bears we actually traveled to Indianapolis to play the Colts in preseason.
Mm-hmm. Andrew Luck.
And Luck all of a sudden comes out of the blue and says, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm retired. And that threw the Colts organization into a tailspin that they really haven't recovered from since.
No, they haven't.
And the Saints are going to be sad to say, but the Saints just might be in the same boat. Hang on one second, because I just got the Sunday night football schedule. If I could just read it. Dallas at Philadelphia. That's Baltimore at Buffalo, Atlanta at Minnesota. Week 3 is Kansas City at the New York Giants. Here's a good one. Sunday night football, week 4, Green Bay at Dallas.
That'll be a good one.
New England at Buffalo in week 5.
That's a questionable one.
Detroit at Kansas City, week 6.
Detroit at Kansas City. It's a rematch of the kickoff, week 1 kickoff game from a few years ago.
Exactly.
Which ended up being a very good game.
Week 7, Atlanta travels to San Francisco.
See, the thing I have with Atlanta playing both 2 games on Sunday Night Football against the Vikings and 49ers is that there's a question mark with that offense, with whether or not Michael Penix will be fully ready, not from an injury standpoint, but just from a performance standpoint. He played okay from the few games that he played at the end of last year. So it'll be interesting to see. You still have that Kirk Cousins situation going on, whether or not he's going to be with the team still too.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Week 8, Green Bay travels to Pittsburgh. That could be an interesting game as well, because I love Pittsburgh's defense.
That'll be a Super Bowl rematch from 2010.
Excuse me, I'm still having lingering effects from that bronchitis that I had a couple weeks ago.
And what I will say, there's another reason why that Packers Steelers game is Sunday Night Football, because there's one player left that everyone's still waiting to find out where he's going to sign and if he's going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You know what? That's a great point. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be playing in that game in week 8? I doubt it. I think he's leaning, personally, I think he's leaning towards retirement, but you never know.
I know. He's like, you can say a lot of things about Aaron Rodgers, but he is competitive and he tries to be an alpha male. Those type of personalities, they don't know when to say, "Hey, it's time for me to hang it up." They hang it up after they've achieved everything that they possibly can. I could totally see him saying, "I want one more crack at this. I'm not going out the way I did in New York."
Well, one thing that he's got to improve on, if he's ever going to do it, and I touched base on this in our chat room, the only quarterback Aaron Rodgers ever defeated in an NFC title game was Caleb Haney.
Yep.
So chew on that, Packer fans. Hey, we've got over 60 people watching the show right now, and I want to thank each and every one of you, but there's no comments. Please throw us your comments in the comment section. If we like what we see, we'll put them on the screen for you. See if we can answer some questions along the way. So we stopped at week 8 for Sunday night. Week 9 is Seattle travels across the country to visit the Commanders in week 9.
That's going to be a tough one, just from the standpoint that that's a long way to go for a Sunday night game for Seattle.
Absolutely. And then they got to come all the way back and have a short week to go back. I'm assuming that they would have a home game in week 10 or a bye week. So I guess we'll see about that. Week 10, the Steelers are back on Sunday night, and they have to travel to LA to play the Chargers. That could be a fun game.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. The amazing thing about the Steelers is that every year we're asking why do they get so many primetime games? They're not a on paper sexy team, but they have a huge fan base and they make those games competitive and worth watching towards the end of the game. I.e., Cowboys, uh, the Cowboys Steelers game last year, where that game was delayed for like over 90 minutes due to a thunderstorm, and people stayed up till 11:30, 11:45. I think that game finished to see the ending of that game, which was amazing. I still remember my mom calling me the next day. She's like, "Did you watch the end of that game?" I'm like, "No, I was asleep at the firehouse. It was almost midnight. I'm not staying up to catch that game, the end of the game."
Yeah, speaking of falling asleep, I went to bed last night, and the Cubs had scored 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth last night to come from behind to walk it
Yeah,
off. I was able to watch the highlights on YouTube this morning, and it's like this is great, love it.
I stayed up a little late at work last night to catch the end of the Sox game. They went to extra innings and they won too in a very close fashion in extra. So maybe it's just time for the Bears that the day before the schedule comes out, both Chicago teams are victorious.
Absolutely. So where did I leave off? Oh, week 11. So Detroit in week 6 played at Kansas City. In week 11, they play Kansas City's Super Bowl opponent last year. They have to travel again on a Sunday night to go visit Philadelphia.
That the beautiful thing about the NFL is they know how to, and we knew that the Eagles and Lions were going to be playing one another. But every year there's always that one matchup that you always want to see in the playoffs. You just don't get it, and then you somehow get it the next season. That's that Eagles Lions matchup this year on Sunday night.
Week 12, Tampa, again, another cross country travel. They play the Rams in week 12.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Baker against Matthew Stafford. Baker, it's going to be a homecoming too because Baker saved his career playing for the Rams in late December. I think don't quote me on it, is it 2023 or 2022? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't remember. Hey, Armando's got a question for us. I'll let you answer it. How good do you think Detroit will be having to learn a new system?
It depends. I'm drawing a blank on who the Lions' new offensive coordinator is. I believe Campbell hired within the coaching system, correct, for their new
Right.
offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
So if they're hiring,
Armando actually kind of edited his comment with new staff in place. New offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, because they lost.
right, because they lost both Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. If so, from my understanding, I think they hired from within. If they hired from within, the verbiage should remain the same. It just comes down to what plays you're taking, what Ben Johnson specific plays you're pulling out of the offensive playbook, and because we all know that Dan Campbell has final say over what type of offense they want to run. So I assume that the best thing that they can do is stick with the running game because they still have Jahmyr Gibbs. You're going to have David Montgomery coming back. They lost him last year to that knee injury. You don't know how effective he's going to be on early in the season. You still have Jared Goff. The best solution for a new offensive system is simplification. Run the ball, especially if you're Detroit.
Yeah, which we'll get into running the ball in Chicago here when we get back to the Bears schedule. We talked about Tampa and LA. Thanksgiving primetime game is Cincinnati at Baltimore. That could be a hell of a game.
It could be, yes, but I see. My only concern about I know a lot of people are high on Cincinnati this year, but Just the last few days, there's starting to be turmoil in Cincinnati with Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals front office with the contract dispute. And,
Mhm.
they paid Joe Burrow, they paid Jamar Chase, they paid T. Higgins, and then they told Trey Hendrickson, hey, if you don't show up to minicamp, we're going to start fining you. That sends the wrong message to your best defensive player, the defensive end that led the league in sacks last year. He can't get a new deal. Joe Burrow has already been very vocal about, hey, take care of the guys here, or else I'm out of here. To the Bengals front office, they took care of the offense, but there might not be enough money to go around for Trey Hendrickson. And the Bengals might be forced to move Trey Hendrickson, unfortunately, which would take a big bite to where you're going to have to win those games, a lot of those games, in shootout style, especially against the Bills and the Ravens this year.
Absolutely. My a guy who's been on our show, Nick Rohde from Just Another Year. I swear he has become the
Eric Lambert.
the of YouTube video rumors, just like Eric at Sports Mockery, and I love the guy. But I mean,
Yeah.
every single rumor in the world that ever gets out there, there's an article on Sports Mockery about it.
I don't know how he does it. And the amazing thing is how fast he gets those articles up. He doesn't he is terrific at taking advantage of the rumors.
That's absolutely the truth. All right, getting back where we left off with the Bengals on Thanksgiving night,
Yes.
traveling to Baltimore, Week 13. Another cross country contest. Denver travels to Washington to host the Commanders. So that's two Sunday night games for Washington this year.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be a good one between Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels if they're both healthy.
It could very well be a lot of fun, that's for sure.
Yes.
Week 14 is an AFC match. It could be a good one. Houston, the third Sunday night game and their last, unless something happens in flex scheduling. But Houston travels to Kansas City with their third Sunday night game of the year.
Unless either Patrick Mahomes and why am I drawing a blank on the CJ Stroud? If either one of them go down for the season and the team one of their respective team is trying to finish out the season at that point, there's no way that game's getting flexed out of Sunday night.
Yeah, you will see. Week 15. The Vikings, with their second appearance on Sunday night, travel to Dallas. That could be a fun game too.
It can be. I'm very questionable about where Dallas will be this year.
God only knows where Dallas is going to be. I am not a big fan of Dak Prescott.
I like Dak Prescott. I like the wide receivers there. The running back situation concerns me. Defensively, they have Michael Parsons, they have Diggs. The problem with that team is they have the talent. They just don't know how to play good, consistent football every year. And we'll see what happens this year with Matt Eberflus on defense as their new defensive coordinator. The one thing that I will say about Matt Eberflus is, for as much as people dogged him here as a head coach, he was a very good defensive coordinator and a defensive mind. He knew how to scheme a defensive game plan. And if the Bears aren't careful, that Week 3 game could be an ugly one for Ben Johnson. Not from a standpoint that the Cowboys might blow the Bears out, but it might be a situation where the Cowboys win because the Dallas defense does enough to stop that offense, and the Bears end up losing.
Well, let's hope you're wrong.
Right? Yeah, I'm just saying we have to be prepared for that.
You're right. We do. Okay, so the Bengals travel to Miami Week 16.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, ironically, we've gone through Thursday night schedule. Now we've gone through the Sunday night schedule. Who have we not mentioned yet?
The Bears.
The Bears. Well, we finally get off the schneid. The Bears are traveling to San Francisco for a Sunday night game out west. So
Yes, and what I'll
who
say,
knows what's going to happen in that game?
and what I'll say about that one is that I have to see what other games are going on that week. But I'd be shocked if that game's going to stay in Sunday night. I have my questions about San Francisco. They've kind of taken a step back, getting rid of a few players, and they're saying they might get rid of a few more players before the season starts. And with the Bears, yes, they could be a good team, but there could also be struggles with a rookie head coach and Ben Johnson. Um, Depending on what other matchups there are, and depending on what goes on the season, we always see it, especially in December. There's always that one Sunday night game that at the start of this year, it's like, hey, this is going to be a great late season game, and then all of a sudden, it's like, all right, they moved it to 3:15. That totally makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, so we left off the Bears schedule.
The Ravens, the noon game week.
Against the Saints.
Yes, and then
week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, week 8. Week 9, they travel to Baltimore, another noon game. Then they travel to Cincinnati, so back-to-back AFC North games before they come home to play the New York Giants.
Which should be a get-right game. It's a good enough game for the Bears where the Giants might be at a crossroads with their season to where it might be just a show up, play good football, and get out of there with a win game.
And who knows, maybe Danny DeVito might be their quarterback by then. For all my Italian friends, remember we did that?
If he's the starter, he's definitely got to make an appearance at Rico Benny's the day before the game.
My little buddy just joined me. Come on, get up here. Hey. She's named after Walter. You just saw her fly by there. Okay, so we got the New York Giants at home. We go to Minnesota. That game is
a noon kick.
16th, another noon game.
Yep.
And then they host Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And that's also a noon game.
Which could
the Sunday before Thanksgiving.
Which could probably get, depending, I have to see the layout of the schedule to see who has the doubleheader game that week and who's playing on Sunday night. I would doubt that the Bears would be flexing to Sunday night playing on Friday, but we've seen them get flexed to Sunday night playing on the Sunday before Thanksgiving. And the reason why I say that is because if Aaron Rodgers is on the Steelers, that game is getting flexed because that's going to be Aaron Rodgers' last chance to stick it to Chicago. And that is just primetime gravy right there.
You don't own us no more, Aaron. I can't wait for the fans to be chirping that. Okay, so the Friday game against Philadelphia on Black Friday is not a night game. It actually is a 2 p.m. start, which to me,
I love it.
To me.
One of my favorite unofficial holidays, it's Black Friday, because you don't have to do anything all day. You just get to sit around, lounge around, watch college football, now NFL football, and then you could watch Frosty or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer as a way to kick off the holiday TV specials season.
You got it all planned out. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. So the Bears kind of have a mini bye. They play Friday. They don't have to play until the following Sunday, which is December 7th. So that's their first of almost back-to-back games against Green Bay. So
yes.
that game is at Lambeau Field, another noon game. And then the Bears the Bears play 3 out of their last 4 games at home.
At home,
Which
yes.
that's probably the best part of the entire schedule. In
It
my
is, but there is some concern about that too. I'll jump into that after we finish, after we read off the schedule, because there's some concern I have with the layout of the Bears schedule.
So we've got Cleveland, a noon
Yes.
game. Then they host Green Bay, so they play Green Bay literally twice in 14 days.
Yep.
Actually,
And that's the
13,
that's the
13.
Saturday game.
That's the Saturday game.
Hmm.
Then they have their. We just talked about their only primetime game that's except for Mondays. So that they didn't have a Thursday night game. They have this one in San Francisco before they finish the season at home
Which also could be flexed depending on what's going on too.
against Detroit.
Yes.
So yes, if the Bears and Detroit play like they are capable of, that very well could be. It could be the winner takes the division.
Yes.
The winner takes the division. So, so you were going to talk about what could be a little trap here for these last 3 out of the last 4 games being at home.
So the one thing I will always talk about when it comes to schedule release time and something that I always look forward to is to seeing when you play what team, because I feel like that goes on that's very undervalued. And one concern I have here is you are playing the Cleveland Browns in mid to late well, it's mid December. That Browns team, they don't know what they're going to do with their quarterback situation. They have Joe
Mm-hmm.
Flacco, they have Sanders, and that would have been a perfect team to play early in this season.
Good
And
point.
here's the other reason why that game can be concerning. The Browns have Myles Garrett, defensive end, and they have Mason Graham at defensive tackle. You have nearly 3/4 of a season for the Browns to figure out all their roster issues, to where maybe the Browns aren't that bad of a team. They might not be that good of a team, but do you really want to face that defensive front in December on that slop of what we call Soldier Field? That could be a dangerous game for the Bears, where even if they win that game, they might come out of a 12-round slugfest if the Browns are healthy and they have their team, their defense especially, in a proper position of play.
I will say this though, when they changed the one great thing that Eberflus did was he made him change the turf, and since
Yeah,
the turf got switched to whatever I think it's a Bermuda uh,
yeah.
grass, there's been no the grass. It's been
There haven't been any issues with
best
that, but
the best grass field that Chicago has ever seen. And trust me, I mean, it's funny because there used to be a chat room on ChicagoBears.com, and it was always flooded by kids. And the talk about returning to an artificial service at Soldier Field. And so what are you talking about? The Bears have never played a game at Soldier Field on artificial surface. Well, in fact, the Bears they played the very first game of the year. They're one of the first times that they ever hosted an opening game was 1971, the very first game of the year against Pittsburgh, and it was AstroTurf, and it was terrible. It was hard. It was basically laid over asphalt. There was no padding underneath it, and it was rock hard. And when they took the artificial turf out of Soldier Field,
following the 1987 season, the 88 season was the first year with the grass.
you're exactly right. So, to all of you youngsters out there, Walter Payton never played a home game at Soldier Field on anything but artificial surface.
And maybe if he had, he probably maybe plays a year or two longer.
Maybe. maybe. Yeah, how many times he had procedures in the off season to clean up his knees was amazing.
Dan Hampton too, Danimal.
Yep. Yeah, I can't remember. I think Hampton had 9 or 10 knee operations.
His season came to an end in 1989 because he went to the Bears, and I think he wanted assurance that if he would get the surgery, they'd pay him something, and then they said no, we're not going to give you that insurance assurance. So he just said, I'm not getting the surgery. I'm done for the season. I'll see you guys in 1990.
I think that was it was right after the Bears played. I want to say it was Philadelphia, and then they went into a terrible losing streak.
Yeah,
You and there was a time where Ditka in one of his pressers said, "I don't know if we'll win another game this year."
and they didn't.
And it was it was terrible. So, any last words about the schedule, Stevie? We did a great job going. The only thing we didn't get to because it hasn't been shown on NFL Network was the Monday night schedule. So we did Thursday night. We did opening primetime week. We did the Thursday night schedule, the Sunday night schedule, and of course the Bears schedule. A lot of stuff that we went over in less than an hour.
Yeah. I like from a viewing standpoint for a fan, this is a great schedule, but from a playing standpoint and building momentum standpoint, this is an absolute terrible schedule for the Bears, from a layout standpoint, because we know what could happen when the Bears play in prime time week one, or anytime there's a big week one game. There's too much anticipation. And the second that the Bears don't live up to that anticipation, the season's over in week one. We saw in 2019 where they lost 10-3 to the Packers. We saw it in 2023 where they got blown out at home against the Packers. It's unfortunate because there really isn't a break early on until you get to that Vegas game because, week two, that stress is going to be on Ben Johnson. He goes right back to Detroit just one game after what happened in the playoffs against the Commanders. He goes back to Detroit, and then you come home and play a classic late afternoon game on Fox against America's team, the Cowboys, which I already said what my concerns about that could be with Matt Eberflus being able to scheme a good defensive game plan. And then that meat grinder of a mid-schedule where you play the Commanders, you play the Saints at home. That's your little break right there. Ravens, Bengals back to back, and then you catch a break with the Giants, and then that Week 11 game is the Vikings on the road. That's three road games against three playoff caliber teams in a span of 4 games. That's a tough schedule. You catch a little break midway through November, or not November, but December, playing the Browns and Packers at home. But all throughout, there is consistently just tough games. Like, if they would have been able to play the Giants early on, like maybe week 1 or week 2, and then followed it up with the Saints or the Browns, maybe you start building some momentum. But there's not that break in the schedule where it's like, hey, let's catch our breath and reset if stuff's going bad, which that is a concern of mine for this schedule for the Bears.
All excellent points, but counterpoint. What was the first thing that Ben Johnson said to the team when he entered in the Hallis Hall?
It's going to be tough and get ready to go to work.
Yeah, he said, get comfortable being
uncomfortable.
And you know what? The season starts, and it's like the lights are on right now. It's either put up or shut up, and they've got to do exactly that. They got to show up and show out starting week 1 against a division rival, and then go on the road to face another division rival. If you remember last year, the Bears didn't play an NFC North team until week 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have 2 back-to-back, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Week 11 is when they play their third. So they only have 3 more after that instead of 5 division games. So at least the division schedule has been spread out. And of course, they play Green Bay twice and Detroit once in the last 5 weeks.
That Detroit game, who does I don't know if you're able to see, who does Detroit play to open up the season against?
I don't.
Because
I haven't seen yet. I
I
actually I
no, I
actually
think
have
that
the Green Bay schedule.
I
That
think they play Green Bay to start in Green Bay, so that week 2 game is going to be a raucous crowd, with that being the Lions' home opener, I believe.
so here's the Packers schedule. There you go. They open with Detroit and Washington, then they're at Cleveland, and then at Dallas. They also have a week 5 bye. So there you have it. There's their schedule
Yeah,
isn't any easier than the Bears is. You know, they play the Giants, they play the Eagles, they play the Panthers. So at least they got that game. They play the Cardinals instead of San Francisco. So the let me see if I can get rid of that chat so I can get the rest of it. And then of course they end the season against Minnesota. They play Denver. They play the Bears, Denver, the Bears, the Ravens, and the Vikings. That's a brutal.
yeah, that's a tough schedule. Um, wow.
You know, and then you've got, let's go even back a couple of weeks. They play at home against Minnesota. Then they've got Detroit on Thanksgiving, and then the schedule we just talked about: the Bears, the Broncos, the Bears, the Ravens, and the Vikings. So they literally play the Bears and the Vikings 4 times after week 11.
Yeah,
That's 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 tough. And like the Bears have 3 out of their last 4 games at home. The Packers have 3 of their last 4 games on the road.
yeah. I'm
And
surprised that Ravens Packers game wasn't chosen as Sunday night football game. I feel like that's the more attractive matchup than Bears 49ers.
one would think.
Yes, 2 playoff teams compared to 2 teams that were letdowns last year, to say the least.
So I am not going to hazard a guess as to what the Bears' record will be. It's way too early to do that. My prediction for the record will come out after, I guess, the week before the season starts. I got to
We'll
see what.
probably have a show for that, right?
Yeah, well, we've got to have a show for that.
Yeah,
We'll probably have a show in the
at the
next
start.
week or so after the next mini camp.
Okay,
You've got we had the rookie camp. We haven't had a mini camp yet. Okay, our
that'll be interesting to see.
OTA. We haven't had the OTA yet. So maybe after the first or during, probably after, because we like to do these on Wednesdays or Thursdays, depending on your work schedule. We'll do one. We'll do them the week after the first OTA.
Perfect. Sounds good.
So with that, as always, my guest host, Stevie Push from Shy City Sports. Any new articles up and posted on your website?
Nothing recently. I've been taking care of some matters, some personal stuff over the last week and a half. Hopefully, getting an article up tomorrow. My schedule also is going to take a hit over the next few weeks, just because I am getting ready to go to New York at the end of the month for 5 days for some sightseeing and to go see the White Sox play the Mets.
Awesome. I've the only baseball stadium to see a baseball game outside of Chicago, or the old county stadium And of course, Miller Park, which is now American Family Field. I don't think I've seen. No, I take that back. I have seen a baseball game at the new Busch Stadium in St. Louis.
I
Back
haven't
in
been there yet.
2008.
I went to New York in 2016, around 4th of July week. I went to go to the Cubs Mets Friday night game, and then I followed that up with a Texas Rangers Boston Red Sox Monday game on 4th of July, which was an amazing game to be at.
That'd be fun to
Yeah.
go see Fenway Park. Yeah, that'd
It,
be
it it's a beautiful stadium. I've been the two times I've gone. Granted, the first time was a rain out. The game never took place. Um,
that's a shame.
but yeah, but I mean, it was still a fun time getting to walk around the stadium. And then we went. I went back in 2016, which was a really fun game to go to. It was a high scoring game. I got to see every type of home run you could hit at Fenway, whether it was over the Green Monster, whether it was off Pesky's pole, whether it was a deep shot to center. It was awesome. It was a great game.
Well, speaking of baseball, the White Sox in the bottom of the seventh lead Cincinnati 4-0. So
Cool. That's what I'm going to go watch right now. So
go watch the game. Thanks for everything you do for our channel, and we'll see you soon. And of course, we'll see you on the chat line.
take care, Mike.
All right, you too. Thanks now.
Thank you. Bye.